We are John and Ellie, the Barefoot Doctors. We lost our new Leopard 50 catamaran to fire, so we began our search for the perfect performance catamaran for sailing us around the world. Jump on board for this adventure, and together, who knows what we can achieve? Because life is better barefoot.
Welcome back to another episode of Barefoot Doctors Sailing. We are on this epic 8,000-mile Atlantic crossing and are heading along the coast of Brazil, heading towards the Caribbean. In this episode, we face squalls, doldrums, and share some clever ways of navigating ocean currents without it costing you a cent. So join us this week as we make our final dash to the Caribbean and immerse ourselves in a Rastafarian culture. It's late in the afternoon. We've been sailing along under whites, continuing pretty much the same sort of speeds, about 8 or 9 knots, but it's 120 degrees or so, and we're making 8 to 9 knots generally. And then we're going to continue on this all night until we get closer to the fast current that's running northwards around the corner of Brazil, and then we're going to angle, put the Oxley up and go more downwind at about 165 degrees. So that is Paul's strategy for this particular leg of the trip. So the wind is 23 to 25 knots, but there's quite a swell happening here because of a storm that was down south of us. But Neil's having fun. He's just chilled out and sitting back.
Just riding away, baby.
The waves are quite steep.
Yeah, some of them are.
Crew always at the ready. Okay guys, as usually happens, we're about to put up the Oxley and a rain squall comes over. So there you have driving rain all the way into here. That's why you need the back drop downs. Somebody was interested in our lats and longs. Not sure why they were that interested, but that's our lat and long at the moment. 8 degrees 18 minutes north, 54 degrees 21 minutes west. Actually, if you're interested in lats and longs, it's on our Predict Wind tracker, which obviously is accessible by the Patreons, as well as our daily logs, so that makes for interesting reading. We are sailing under Oxley. We're sailing at I think about 145 degrees to the winds. We have laid waypoints to go along this coast, and the most important thing about these waypoints is we have done them to catch the maximum current. I think it's a little bit of overestimate because when we're sailing along on this boat, it's always registering a current in our favor of 1 knot or 1.3 knots, depending on how fast we're going. So I think there's a calibration error in our log, whichever direction we go, we're still getting current with us. So clearly there's a calibration error with the speed. So I reckon it's about a knot less than what it's reading, but it's reading 4.9 at the moment. It has been as high as 5.5, which means the real current is about sort of 3.5 to 4.5 knots. Now you add 4 knots onto a 6, 7 or 8 knot boat speed, you were getting these lovely speeds of 10 and 12 knots. This is like the South American Superhighway. We get onto this strong current and it's shown on windy. You can see exactly where it is, and you can see which parts of it are the strongest as well. Paul has put in waypoints where the current is the strongest. There's one, roughly speaking, it's just off the 2,000 meter mark, So the current obviously flows along here, it hits that steep drop off and then pushes, funnels the way around the top of Brazil. Apparently this current is created by the rotation of the world, forcing the water in that direction. But this is probably the strongest current in open ocean that I've ever encountered. This is just phenomenal. And this is going to mean we do hopefully 250-mile days, which means we'll do 1,000 miles in 4 days with a bit of luck, assuming the wind stays up and we continue to have good sailing conditions. It's very easy. We were doing 9 knots just with the Genoa up, and even in relatively light winds, and even when the wind got to about 7 or 8 knots right behind us, and we were only doing 3 knots of boat speed, the course of the ground was still 7 or 8 knots. So even doing really pathetic boat speeds, as long as you're going in the right direction and going with it, this is just phenomenally wonderful. I would not want to be sailing the other way. In fact, if you're sailing the other way, you have to specifically aim to get out of that current, because that would just send you backwards. There's a weaker current along here, but once it gets up to this part of the coast, it's really strong all the way through to there. And I think there's also a bit of current further north too. So to see our track really high northwards to get over that calm spell there to St Lucia, up to there, and then along here to the corner of Brazil, and then we'll sail on along the coast past Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St Vincent, and get to St Lucia there. So this is very exciting stuff and really rewarding when you get into a current like this. It just feels so good to go such wonderful speeds. We are now in flat water and doing these steady speeds. Just amazing. You were looking at a boat full of very happy sailors. We could have kept the secret and said, okay, look at how good the Oxley sail is, and our boat is a performance cat. Look, we're almost doing wind speed. But hey guys, we're not like that. We don't do those sort of nonsense. But this is spectacular stuff. Spectacular. Okay, so it's midnight shift. This is about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and we have our little hitchhiker. This time this little fella was quite okay. He just rested with us for several hours through the night, and several hours later he was gone. Thanks to all our viewers for telling us the last bird in distress was a Wilson's Storm petrel, but maybe you could help us out again with this one. Recognition of birds is not my strong point, so I appreciate all the help you've been giving us. Dolphins!
Dolphin!
Hey!
Atlantic white-sided dolphins are a social species, often coming together to form large pods containing hundreds or even thousands of dolphins. They'll also be seen in the company of other species, including much larger whales.
We now have 600 miles to go to St Lucia, but we are in the Doldrums. We have been having winds on and off really for the last 2 days, but the wind should be from the northeast, 90 degrees in a different direction, and that's where the wind will come when the trade winds hit us, which should be in the next day or two. Right now it's 6 knots on the nose, and we still have 3 knots of current, which is great. We got into the current last night, so that makes our speed over ground a lot better. We are now sailing into the sunset, but you can see dark clouds over there, rain squall over there, not too bad in this direction. So that's the kind of day we've been having, some sunshine, lots of rainfall and hot, humid, sticky. It keeps on looking like the wind's going to pick up, and it does for sometimes like 5 or 10 minutes and then fades away again. And also because we're driving, we're motoring into the wind, it makes the apparent wind feel much stronger. So the wind's got up to 19 or 20 knots after running along at 7 and 8 and 9. Sea Essentials kicking up her heels and rushing off to her destination.
It was developed in Hawaii called voyage, and it was how women defended themselves. This was a self-defense for women
really?
against the guys. Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting close to the time of the closest point of approach. There is the ship 1.9 miles away from us. So this is the FLIR camera. That's the chart. But the FLIR camera is seeing nothing. It is tracking the boat. It is following the boat, but we can't see it. So the FLIR camera in this situation is a little bit disappointing actually. I thought you'd be able to see the boat and give you more indication that something was there, but not this time. Okay, this is a radar picture compared to the FLIR camera. You see the big green splodge there, so that shows you how very obvious the radar makes the boat. That shows the tried and tested radar in this instance is far superior to the FLIR.
As we were sailing along the Brazilian coast, we needed to know not only where the current was running, but where the current was running in its maximum force. Fortunately, if you open up Windy and go to more layers, then go down to where you can see currents, it will display the currents in your area in great detail and also update them from day to day as they change. You can find the point of maximum current by running the cursor crossways across the band of current and find where the speed is maximum. Then get that Latin long and just transfer it to your GPS and place a waypoint there. You can do this repeatedly along the course of the current and your course, and then just follow your waypoints from point to point to give you the maximum benefit of the current through this region. If you pay the $30 per year Windy Premium, Windy will also place you on the map so you can see visually where you are in relation to those currents as well as you are sailing. If you are sailing against the currents, obviously the reverse is true. So this process is phenomenally beneficial if you're doing long passages and if there are significant currents. So get onto that, and Windy is free, so you don't even have to pay. And by the way, we are not sponsored by Windy at all.
Okay guys, so it is 6:30 in the morning. I've been on the 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. shift, and we have just spotted St Lucia through the mist. We are only 12 miles away from the land, but we've only just been able to see it because of all this mist and fogginess that is hiding everything. So just see there, poking through the mist, a lump of land, and that is St Lucia. So it has been 4,000 nautical miles from St Helena to St Lucia, and we have done that in 21 days. The 2,000 miles that we did from Cape Town to St Helena we did in 13 days. We are going to round the west side of St Lucia, travel up to the north end of the island and go into the marina there at Rodney Bay, which is apparently where you need to check in. 6,000 nautical miles altogether, and we are finally here in the Caribbean. This is a very significant step we are just completing now, so we're very happy seeing land after 3 weeks of nothingness, a major land ho event.
Mark.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Cool. Cheers, Nigel. Yeah, man.
This is music from St Lucia.
Lots of people have been asking us for more details about the steering station, so I thought we'd give you a little sneak preview to let you all know how things are going up to now. We're having steps up into the steering station, as you can see here, set back from the steering station itself, allowing the full area to be a platform where you can manage the steering and the winches without any fear of falling down a step. The front edge of this will have space for all the lines to fall into bags, and there will also be a ladder on the inner edge allowing us to climb up onto the roof from the steering station if we need to. The other advantage with this design is that it gives you a huge area of storage in that area underneath the steering station that would often go to waste. In this picture you can also see the nice double daybed that will be in the shade to allow us to relax together at any time. The seat will be adjustable to make allowances for people of any height, and the inner edge will have a backrest to allow us to lounge sideways on a longer passage. The displays in front of the steering wheel will be recessed and hopefully with a cover to keep the direct sun off the screens. In terms of weather protection, the steering station will be able to be fully enclosed with a solid glass front screen that is able to rotate up and attach to the roof of the helm station if we want it out of the way. All the edges in the cockpit will also have lips to prevent water flowing down from the roof into the aft cockpit, which is a constant bugbear of ours over the years. From the outside view you can also see two steps allowing you to access the roof from the side deck, and there will be handholds at suitable places to allow this to happen safely. As you can see, the winches are recessed to be at an ideal height for access while standing. All the sheets from the mast will be led under the decks, coming out level with the winches, which keeps the decks nice and clear. It reduces the risk of tripping and also reduces the UV damage for our lines in the longer term. There will be plates that are easily lifted to access the ropes under the decks when we need to. There is of course a glass area in the roof of the helm station so you can look upwards and see your sails, and this will also have a shade cover for when we need it. The actual positioning of the instruments in the display area is really up to us, and we will make that decision close to the time once we've decided what instruments we're going to be running with. Some of these renders are a little bit behind the adjustments that have been made, but as you can see, this is going to look like a spectacular steering station, and we are continuing to fine-tune it to maximize its potential. We'll keep sharing Portofino 52 updates with you over the next weeks and months, as this is a very exciting project and we're looking forward to seeing it coming into fruition.
Thanks for watching, guys, and if you like what we do, show us the love and hit the like button, then hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell as well so you don't miss out on your regular fix. Then kick off your shoes and you can come barefoot with us.